guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. So today's video is going to be a review of Blue Story. For those who haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I'm literally less than 10 away from hitting my goal of 1,000 subscribers. It really helps support my channel, and thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Blue Story movie, it's been quite anticipated. It's been actually quite a quick turnover. Obviously, some backstory for those of you who don't know. The director, Ratman, he basically made this kind of three-part story, short story called Shiro Story, and put it up on YouTube, and it basically went viral and got the attention of Jay-Z and Rock Nation and Paramount UK, and they ended up signing a deal to make a movie, to make a feature film, which is his first feature film, and obviously now it's being released. So overall, that was like 6-8 months ago. It's been quite a quick turnover in terms of Shiro's story blowing up and this movie being released. People make their films over a number of years, so in terms of independent filmmaking, that is possible when you have the backing behind you. Not sure really if we could say it's independent filmmaking now, because obviously a big house is behind it, but in terms of the infancy, at its heart, it was an independent film, and they've kind of given him full creative control, which is obviously amazing to be given full creative control from a big studio house. Anyway, moving on. So I watched Shiro's Story. I really liked it. Obviously, if you've watched Shiro's Story, then you'll probably be used to Ratman's particular style of auteur style, you could say, filmmaking style. It's quite theatrical, it's heavily musical based, and it's very dramatic. So that is what I was expecting. Obviously, Blue Story movie, we know it's kind of centered around teens. Him and his team have been hyping it up as the next big British film. I think in terms of the hype, they just said British film, but I think they really, in terms of marketing, they just kept a British film, but I feel like they really just wanted to say Black British film. Because in terms of, Black British film, we kind of just, Black British film or film kind of centered, either involving a majority Black cast or, Black screenwriter, Black director per se. In terms of that, we've had, moments. So the last big Black British film that popped off was probably Kidulthood and then Adulthood. But that was the last film where, all of the young kids, all of the teenagers, young adults were going to see it, and that's what made it popular, and I feel like that's what they're hoping for with this film. And then obviously there's another block, and Attack the Block and the zombie film that was based in an urban London area. So we've had our moments, but I feel like the last big kind of film was probably Kidulthood. Obviously Kidulthood, that's kind of a different type of film, different type. In terms of comparing Kidulthood to Blue Story movie, I'd say it's a different style because Ratman has a specific auteur style. So, but in terms of the drama, there is a lot of drama. I feel like there is more drama in Blue Story than there was in Kidulthood. So I feel like if you've watched Shiro's Story, then you kind of know what to expect. If you watch Shiro's Story and you like Shiro's Story, I think you would really like Blue Story movie as well. So obviously, rundown of the plot, if you haven't watched the trailer, it's basically these two friends, they meet each other at secondary school. But they both live in different areas of Southeast London. I believe that's what the area is. Forgive me if I said the wrong area. I'm from North London, so I'm a bit rusty on anything that is not North London. I believe it's Southeast London, the Lewisham area, and they both live in different postcodes, so then it kind of foreshadows a war, it kind of foreshadows within, subjects such as gangs and postcode wars and whatnot. Innocent Black boys, they're friends, they do normal teenage stuff together. They go to parties, they fall in love, teenage love, there's just fooling around. They're teasing each other, there's jokes, just a normal kind of average teenage life in London. and there's an incident that happens, and suddenly they're now both gangs in their respective postcodes, and there's now a rivalry between them, and it's all about revenge and rivalry, and there's a whole big drama, and then there's a twist at the end. And that's pretty much the plot of the film. Obviously, the film, I feel like with a lot of Ratman's film, there's a lot of kind of morality involved, arguments of morality weaved in. So there's kind of commentary on gangs, commentary on postcode, commentary on, you know, the brutality of gang life, why people join gangs, kind of peer pressure to join gangs, whether you're from a certain postcode, whether you have family involved in gangs, there's pressure from you to join as well, especially if your family member is high ranking within said gang. And then, of course, in Ratman's stories, there's always a resolution, and there's commentary on a resolution. So obviously, even though it has a lot of violence and it, you know, highlights gang violence, it also opens the window of, you know, managing to escape from that life. Moving on to the acting, obviously with the acting, like I said, Ratman has a particular style. It's quite theatrical, it's quite over the top, and, you know, if you're not kind of used to it, if you're kind of used to more kind of gritty realism in terms of acting, it might take a while to get used to, but by midway you're kind of used to it in terms of acting style. Obviously, main characters. So obviously, in terms of the cast, they've got some big names. Michael Ward, we've got him from Top Story. Not Top Story. We've got him from Top... Obviously, we've got Michael Ward. Obviously, you may know him from Top Boy. So, again, teenager in this film, but obviously young man involved in gangs. Khalil Best, obviously, he's a comedian. He's coming up. I think he's done some stuff in America. So yeah, he plays, and we've got Kadeem Ramsey. Obviously, he was in Top Boy as well. Obviously, in Top Boy, he was a member of a gang, but in Blue Story, he isn't a member of a gang. He's just kind of a normal kind of teenager who kind of knows the two boys who have the rivalry, and he kind of plays this kind of soft, friendly character. So yeah, that was interesting to see, because obviously in Top Boy he's like this ruthless hitter, but we see kind of a more softer side to him. So maybe that could show us that, you know, he is more, you know, he can play a range of characters, which I thought was quite interesting. And obviously the other main character is Stephen Odebola. He's another main character. I actually met him and took a picture of him at the premiere. If any of you wanted to know how that went, I've actually got a vlog up on my channel, which I'll suggest up there. They both kind of played, you know, Timmy, he obviously plays the really soft, you know, he's like the sweet innocent boy he's like a sweet innocent boy in the beginning, and then he turns out to be this like hard, ruthless criminal after the incident that happens. So yeah, I feel like he plays both roles quite well. So yeah, it was interesting to see that change happen of him being this like happy-go-lucky innocent boy, and then this kind of ruthless person seeking revenge. So yeah, overall cast was quite solid. There's some other faces, I can't remember all of their names, but I know somebody who used to be on Hollyoaks made an appearance in there as well. So yeah, it was, so yeah, it felt like a very local cast, and I feel like they all did what they came to do. Like I said, Ratman, he's got a particular style. So obviously, he has a particular auteur style, so he has a particular directing style, the particular writing style. So in terms of the acting, he kind of tailored the acting to his style. So in terms of performances, I felt like they were all quite solid in terms of the way that Ratman directs and the way that he writes. Obviously music is an element in all of kind of Ratman's productions. I actually would have liked a bit more music. I feel like there was like one or two bits where we see him performing, and then there's other bits where it's like him as the background music, so it's just like, oh wait, that's him rapping to that beat. So I feel like I actually would have preferred if it was just the all-out musical, like everyone was singing. But the music was what you could expect. I would have liked a little bit more music, a little bit more of Ratman in it. As much as he was, I feel like there should have been like There should have been something for like every big incident where it was kind of just here and there. In terms of the score could have been a bit better. Sometimes it just got a bit repetitive. There's this one tune that you'll hear throughout it. First film, maybe you can put it down to that, but I feel like there should have been different scores because it started to get a little bit repetitive. Cinematography was, solid. It's kind of solid. It's kind of what you would expect from kind of like British, from a kind of British film set around gangs. There's a lot of found footage which worked really well, especially when there was like violence going on, the consequences of the violence. We see some clips of like a mother crying. Yeah, some harrowing stuff, some quite sad stuff actually. And I liked how they included the found footage. There were some bits that were a bit choppy, like the editing, some of it was a bit choppy. So I would have liked a bit more smooth editing, but I can just put that down to maybe this is like the first big production. Maybe that's why certain bits of cinematography and editing were not as slick as I usually expect a film to be. But nonetheless, it doesn't really affect the viewing experience. I feel like because, Ratman, his work is a bit rough around the edges anyway, so I feel like you can kind of just let that slide. I feel like the script is pretty solid. It does take a while to get into it. I feel like, halfway, I feel like not like a quarter of the way in is when it starts to get really engaging, and then from then on it's just like and then by the end you're just like whoo. So I feel like it was a really entertaining experience. Like I said, it takes a while to get into it, and if you're not familiar with his style of directing and his style of acting, it might take you a while to get into it. But overall, I felt like it was a solid story. Like with Ratman, I feel like if you know his work, you know what you're going to get with him. What else? Yeah, so in terms of who I think this film is for, I think it's probably going to do well with teenagers and young adults. I watched it with two audiences. So I went to the world premiere. Like I said, I've got a vlog up on my channel, so feel free to watch that on my channel. So with that, we had our own separate screening because I won a competition for that. So we had a separate competition screening, and most of the people in there were quite young people, like teenagers, early 20s, and the majority of the room was black. I think there was some Asian faces, but the majority of the room was black. And then the second screening I went to, which was a press screening, the majority of the room was like 30 plus, and majority white. I feel like it was better received with the first audience. I feel like that's who the target market is. People who are kind of into kind of crime gang dramas. If you're into like Top Boy and stuff like that, you'll probably like this film. I'd recommend this film for you. But yeah, I think definitely a younger audience. I couldn't say if it was just for a black audience. I feel like it probably would be better received by a black audience, but I feel like young as well, irrespective of race. The older you get, the older it gets. I'm not sure if they'd be interested really. I think an older audience, I'm thinking maybe 26 up to 25 plus, maybe wouldn't want to. I'm not sure if it would go down well because it's quite a young-centered film. Like it's set, it's quite a young-centered film. It starts off in like a school setting. The main characters are kind of school kids. But there is elements of like younger adults as well, like, youngers, olders. So I feel like it is more of a kind of film that's more suitable for a younger audience, I think, or will be better received with a younger audience. Like I said, in terms of race, I'm not sure if it will go down better with a white audience or a black audience or an Asian audience, whatnot. But I think age, I could say, it would be, better received by a younger audience. I would rate it a 3.5 out of 5. It's a bit theatrical, it is a bit cheesy at times, but I feel like it is a really engaging film. It is, you know, there's some laughs in there as well. There's some funny moments. There's some emotional moments. There's some OMG moments. I actually really enjoyed it. There are some bits though that are a bit heavy, that are a bit like graphic. That's the only thing that I will say. There are some a bit graphic scenes. Oh, and also one more thing is the Foley definitely could have been improved. Some of the gunshots sounded a bit off, to be honest. They sounded like fireworks rather than actual gunshots. But other than that, you know, I feel like you know what you're kind of getting, and you know it satisfies that. And you know what you know what you're going to go in for. You know what you want out of the film, and you kind of get it. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 3.5 because I actually really enjoyed watching it twice. So I would recommend going to go see it in the cinema. It's quite limited the screenings though, so I guess, you know, depending on how it goes, they might open it out to other screens. But if you can get your hands on the ticket, I'd say definitely go watch it. It'd be a really good film to watch on the weekend, definitely. I'd say go watch it. You know, they leave the story open for a Blue Story. I'd be interested to at least seeing the trailer of a Blue Story 2. You know, I'm always quite sceptical of sequels, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Obviously, if this film does well, then that leaves the door open for a Blue Story 2. Let me know if you've watched the film. Let me know what you thought of it. If you haven't watched it, let me know if you are thinking about going to see it. If you've copped a ticket yet, let me know if you're excited to go see it. And let me know what you thought of my review as well. And yes, don't forget to subscribe. And till next time, guys, bye.